Okay, yeah. Last night I heard the news about Jessica Doty Whitaker, and I've written some things like on my Facebook and stuff like this, and I think I talked a lot about it in like some videos before, you know. But this is something. This could be like really. I mean, this was gonna happen at some point because like if you look at like some of the BLM I was looking at some even in my country BLM protesters, and you see just standing there with their hands raised with a fist and their angry faces, and there's so much hate there. It's not a message of love. Why raise your hand? I mean, those Nazis raised their hands. I mean, they had it stretched, but it's like a fist. It's like you want to attack, want to punch somebody. Okay, maybe you want to fight back. Maybe you're upset about all the oppression, all the bad stuff that happened. But most of that happened for like 400 years ago. Like last century, Germans were in my country. They took Jews here and put them in camps and murdered them. Do you see the Jews attacking Germany? You know? Do you see us talking about what the Germans did? I mean, bringing up like horrible things that somebody did like 400 or 500 years ago, and talking about it now like it happened yesterday, and that it's like many generations ago, and now then suddenly then the people that live now have to pay for that their race, people of their race did like 400 years ago. Like, should the Jews go back to Egypt and start killing Egyptians because they were there in captivity for like so long, and they had such a trouble getting out of there, you know? Our whole society, was built on tribes of people, like guys running around with spears and knives and swords, trying to either kill some animals to bring some food back home for their wives and their tribe, their community, or fighting other tribes that were getting too close and trying to steal their animals and get their and trying to take over their area because maybe their area had more food in it than the other guys, and they were starving, so they were trying to get, or they didn't like how they looked at other group. This has been our history for 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 of years, fighting each other as men for areas, and we fought each other. We just looked at the other group. Oh, they had different beads and different hair and different paint on their face, and we fought each other for survival. And now we want to bring that back in an area where we are all working together. Nobody did really care. Nobody. I don't care about somebody's skin color. I don't make judgments on somebody's skin color. So why and this whole thing that like white privilege. If you say white privilege, it's actually saying that there's like this privilege for non-whites. When you say something, you're always saying the opposite. You're making people that are non-white feel like they're being like treated dishonestly, and they're making all these words up. This like university people that need to get their degrees, they write stupid papers. They make up these new words. Oh, we got like intersectionality, like you're a double, triple. Oh, you're a woman. Oh, then you're like being disadvantaged. You have a color. Then you're being disadvantaged. Oh, you have a peg leg. Oh, you're being disadvantaged. Oh, you have different sexual orientation. You're being disadvantaged. Oh, you're not happy in your body. You actually want to be a different sex. Or you're being disadvantaged. Now you got all these perks because you got all these disadvantages, and everybody has to walk on toes around those people because their lives they're gonna crumble on them. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can become a millionaire. You can be like #1 athlete. You can win the Olympics with all of those. Well, maybe the peg leg could be a problem. Depends on what kind of sport you do. But I mean, you can be a number one sports athlete, number one businessman, artist, actress, actor. You could do anything you want with all those disadvantages. And I'm not saying those disadvantages are not disadvantages. I realize that in some situations, if you apply for a job and that person might feel that he'd rather not have a person with a peg leg doing certain types of jobs because they might not walk as fast, that is a disadvantage. There might be sometimes if you go for a job interview, you are dealing with this. But like if I go into a job interview and I didn't iron my shirt well, and there's some greases in my shirt, that person might say, well, oh, that person is not taking good care of himself. I'd rather want that other guy who had like the perfect suit and everything was perfect, and I've been being discriminated on how well I am able to dress myself. So discrimination is part of life, especially when you're getting jobs. You know, when you're looking for a partner, that partner is looking for certain things. If you don't have that, you can think that person is perfect, but yeah, you know, you're always discriminating against people. You're discriminating what people, you know, that's part of life. But what's really bad is when you start hurting other people over it, you know. So when I hear these people talk from like BLM, and BLM is actually it's a political organization, you know. I don't know if they're going to be a party or anything, but they are part right now. They're the left. They are for now Democrats. They don't like Trump. They hate Trump. Why? Because it's not them. That's the only reason. You know? It's not them. So, because they want to, and then they start talking, oh, he's so racist, this and that, and then all the people that support Trump are racist, and they're all racist, and whites are bad, and they build up this whole narrative where anybody who's not supporting Democrats are like evil, like they're Nazis or something. You know? Listen, Nazis, what they did, they put Jews in camps and killed them. Nazis, the German army, took over whole of Europe because they thought that they wanted like more space. They deserved better space because they were superior. They had a superiority complex. Now, are there maybe a few whites that feel superiority? Sure. Sure, there are a few. But are you going to attack every white American, every white person in the world because maybe 1% of them feels that way? Or like even 0.5%? Or 1,000%? Because there is some person somewhere in the world that feels that way. You're going to just shoot a random person in the street, a random mother of a child. Because you got in an argument, yeah? And you had a disagreement on political views, because that's what it does. You know, people who say all lives matter, it's not for them. They don't say it because they they disagree with that Black Lives Matter, of course, but that's incorporated in all lives. All means blacks and whites. That is what all means. And Hispanics and Puerto Ricans and every color under the rainbow. That is all. We don't want to talk. They just don't want to talk about how bad the blacks have it, because we know that people. We understand that, but we feel that it's just like that. That is just by we're bringing something back like 400 or 500 years old, and pretending that now we have the right to kill people over it. And destroy cities over it, and destroy the world over it. We have much more problems. I would say like baby lives matter, black baby lives matters. That's my goal. That's my goal in life, that people start to realize that a baby out of the belly is just as important as a baby in the belly. That alive, you wouldn't hurt a baby out of the belly, would you? That baby lives matter. But if a baby is in the belly, that life doesn't matter. Baby lives in the belly don't matter for most people. That would be my message. Baby lives matter. But I'm not gonna. So I know that, and then they talk about institutional racism, all these things. The thing is that I'm not saying those things. There might not be some truth in that, and that black people have it easy. I'm not going to say that. For some people might. Some people might not have no. I've heard like videos and lots of people talk about. Now, I never had any problems in my life with racism. You know, I've always been blessed with great friendships. Everything went well. There are lots of black people that have that. Now, some people, like when they start hearing about BLM, they start searching and thinking, well, maybe there's something in my life that I didn't like. Look, I've been hit in the face by like Moroccans because I was white. Now that's racism. That's like physical attack. You know. Do you hear me like crying about it, like, oh, this and that and that? No, because I understand it. They maybe they have faced racism by other white people. They say me, and they think, well, we're gonna hit that guy in the face. You know, it can happen. I know that like the Moroccans in my country, some of them. I know I've seen like even in my classroom there was one. He was one of the best students. You know, I was a good student, but he was like his father was giving him like bonuses, you know, and he was like, and he's done really good in life. So it doesn't really matter. You can do great in life. It doesn't really matter your background, but yeah, I mean, if you have this idea of like, oh, we are being discriminated against, you know, and maybe like it's like a disadvantage, but like if I want to get like a job, if they don't like my hair, I have long hair, if they don't like that, if they don't like my face, if they don't like anything about me, yeah, that could be also a reason. Like we all have faced problems in like getting a job. And if you put on a nice suit, that maybe you're a Moroccan and you put on a nice suit, nice tie, you do your hair nice, you have a big nice smile and you have a great talk, you get the job over me. Believe me. Because you as a personality, as a person, you have more to offer to that interviewer than me, because maybe I didn't have the nice suit lying around. I didn't have like time to get it all together. Maybe I didn't went to the hairdresser that week, you know. Maybe I for some reason I made a mistake somewhere, which makes me look bad in comparing to some other person, and my color is really not a main concern. Probably might be any concern to that person that's interviewing, you know. And like I said, if those people exist, but are we gonna like start killing each other over that, you know? And that's what this is about. This woman, I think this is the problem. What like it seemed kind of innocent what these liberals were doing, talking about intersectionality, talking about white privilege. It's been in the news for months and months, and that's another thing, that the media in America is democratic. Basically, like they are paid by Democrats. They actually are owned. Those news outlets are owned. Now you have like a thing like Fox that is like Republican, but like CNN, all those things, they support. And I will show you an example about how one news outlet talks about this and how another talks about this. And you can see distinct way. Like if you look at, I haven't even told the story, but I mean, sorry, because you might not even know the story. Well, I've put another video on this on Facebook, so you probably have, if you heard that, you heard the story. But so this girl got killed for saying all lives matter. Basically, that's the story. Life cut short. Who was Jessica Doty Whitaker, the woman shot and killed for saying all lives matter. So this is about who she is. So maybe I should put the other one. Deadly discussion. Young mom, 24, shot dead after telling Black Lives Matter protesters all lives matter during argument about movement. An argument about the movement. Okay. What does this say? Mom shot dead as fiancé watches after yelling all lives matter in street row. You see, every story has a different approach to this. Good riddance to another. Oh, this is like something that they said on their Facebook. A young mom shot dead in front of friends and fiancé after shouting all lives matter at a group of strangers. Okay, so there, this is like she randomly just like, oh, there's some strangers, all lives matter, yeah, I'm just gonna like she's some kind of activist. That's actually not what happened. So we have the Fox News. Now Fox is like a Republican, they're Republican based, so I think it's good. I mean, the truth is gonna be somewhere in between, you know. But this is like, oh, after shouting all at a group of strangers. Well, this is like, it's so random, you know, like there's nothing happened. Okay, so that's not what happened. She didn't just shout all lives matter at a group of strangers. What happened, and I will read some of the articles, basically what I've understand until now, is that there was like, they were, at night they were walking with a group, and there was another group, and they overheard them saying, somebody in their group said the N-word. And then, and the other group overheard this, and they started shouting like Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. So they were shouting at them. Now, either her or somebody in the group said like all lives matter, and probably it probably was her, and so that's why they targeted her, because she just responded to them saying Black Lives Matter to all lives matter. Now, to like extreme ideologists like a lot of the people in BLM, if you say that, in their eyes, I'm saying this is like subjectively, in their eyes now you're being a racist. But you have to understand, the lady who said that meant with all lives matter that Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, Hispanic, she meant like literally all lives matter. She meant it the way it is, as you read it and understand it, all lives. But you have to understand that when an extreme leftist hears this, they see, oh, now she's being racist. They say, you see that for them it's just as word as saying the N-word to their face. So when she's like screaming to them like all lives matter, she just assaulted a lot of people in their eyes. Now, it wasn't her intention, was not what she was doing. She was just replying to something that she felt like was out of touch with reality. Sure, Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives Matter is a movement, an extreme left movement. They wanna, and so when people say all lives matter, they say, well, you're too focused on just this one thing. You're just too focused on it. We all matter, you know, and that's kind of what she was saying. It's not that she's being racist. I'm not saying that like I don't care about blacks. She says I care about blacks and all the other ones too, and me too. I have my problems too. You know, I'm gonna get killed by you, and that's the problem. You know, whites have probably actually more problems right now because we are like things like this. You know, now I talk about. I mean, sure, there's a lot of black people are getting killed, but mostly it's black on black. It's like crime going on, you know, because they live in neighborhoods where there's a lot of crime, because there's a lot of drug use, and I've talked about this like in the other thing, like what I would do if I was like living in that community, if I were black, or I want to support blacks, or if I was an American, I want to help those people, I would say, well, get rid of that drug use. Now you say, well, oh yeah, we just get rid of the drug use, you've solved all my problems, but seriously, like if you use drugs, you get addicted. That costs money. It's illegal, so it costs a lot of money. So your body really wants it, especially those hard drugs like oxycodone or whatever, like a I don't know, all this crap. If you need that stuff, it's going to be expensive. So where are you going to get the money? Women are going to be prostitutes. So if you give your girlfriend hard drugs, actually you're turning her into a prostitute. You know, that's what you're doing. So a black guy who is using drugs and sharing it with his girlfriend, he's pretty much ruining her life. Okay, thank you for all the sex, thank you for all the stuff. Now I'm going to ruin your life and turn you into a prostitute. He himself is probably either going to be like a drugs dealer himself, or a pimp, yeah, or a thief. So drugs is really a really big problem, you know, in these communities. And again, like I'm not saying that there are no no racist white people that are like hurting black communities and they're doing those things, but it's like you would solve so much more problems if you would focus on like drugs and have yeah, Black Lives Matter, but what's happening to in those black lives? Well, most of the black lives, a lot of black lives are being are having, or they're being victims of crimes, or they become like they need to do crimes themselves to like because they have a drug addiction. They have families that are broken up because their father's in jail because either he was doing drugs and got into crime. So they grow young boys and girls grow up with a father without a father. So all these problems come basically from drugs and drugs dealing, you know. So BLM should be focusing on really helping black people, but no, BLM is not made for that. BLM, like I said, is an activist program set up purely to promote the hatred towards towards white people, so white people will vote for Democratic Party because they claim to be the sole solution for black people, but they are not, because right now they're starting like a race war in America. And this could be the start of it because they're not covering that. But look, what happened when like George Floyd got killed, right? We all saw the video. We saw how he was killed like for like 8-9 minutes, you know. I saw like this cop sitting on his neck while he was already dead for like 3 minutes. It was a horrible video. And it got huge coverage. Everybody was talking about it. The whole world was talking about it. All the news outlets in America were talking about it. And we all hated it. Everybody hated it. Even those people that were supposedly racist, you know. Like, Republicans hated it. We all felt bad for what happened to that person. Yeah. But the thing is that Black Lives Matter took it on. Yeah, of course they started doing all these things, and everybody support. A lot of people were supporting that. Even people that never thought about Black Lives Matter supported that because we think it's horrible if things like that happen. We don't want to have to see that happen again. But look at this woman. She is now killed for saying all lives matter. It's not that she was a criminal or she was accused of a crime like Floyd was. Actually, she never, as far as I've heard, she never done a crime in her life. She has a 3-year-old son. She's a fiancé, which is, he looked like a bit like Puerto Rican looking. He was not even a white person, so her son is probably also mixed. You know, she had her whole life in front of her. She was gonna be a nurse, helping people actually in a hospital, saving lives, doing her job. She wasn't like a criminal. She didn't spend like a lot of time in jail like George Floyd did. She was an innocent woman. She got shot down for saying 3 words, all lives matter. She was not her sister said, I read somewhere that her sister said she was not a racist person. She didn't say that because she was racist, but just because she was confronted with a group of people screaming Black Lives Matter, and she felt the need to say all lives matter. And she was killed for that. Because from her perspective, she felt that she could say that, and she had to say that. She didn't say it to offend those people in a way that she said that, oh, Black lives didn't matter. That was not her intention. She said Black lives matter and all lives matter. And that inclusive of Black lives matter, you know. Stop talking only about like you're the victims of the whole world and that, you know. Something like that. I don't know. There is the people that say this, say all lives matter. They're what they're saying. A lot of the things that I'm saying is like focus on other things. Focus on, look at black on black crime. Look at how many people blacks are in jail. Try to get them. Try to like stop them from doing crime. Focus on your own community and stop focusing on what what the whites have done to black people like 400 years ago. We are willing to help. We would love to help. If there's anything we can do to help this community that we have heard like 400 years ago, they would do it. But just putting the blame on them, saying them, oh, you've done wrong, you have to kneel down for us, and you have to beg for forgiveness. The forgiveness, you're not going to forgive us because you're just going to keep saying BLM all the time. Because if one person is forgiven, then you have like still the rest of the globe to hate, you know. And this is pure racism. This woman killing a white woman for saying like something simple as all lives matter, because you interpret it maybe as being racist, because you think if somebody said you have to kill a lot of people because people, this is not a racist thing, saying all lives matter. It's not because people hate other colors. This is not a racist thing. They just think that, you know, that's just the way they think that it's all inclusive, that we should all love each other. We shouldn't even look at each other color. Don't talk about color. You know, that's the girl she was. Her boyfriend wasn't pure white. I've seen some videos of her, and he didn't look like pure white. He looked more like Puerto Rican or something, Latino, whatever. So this woman, she didn't think about colors. She was gonna marry like a non-white person, basically. I don't know if you I don't know how you think about it. Maybe you think that Latinos are white. I don't know, but you know. But I don't think so. I think that, but yeah, whatever. It's all. I don't even care about all this race stuff. But these BLM people, these extreme leftists, these Democrats, they're talking. It's all about race with them, and they're talking. They talk about all these things, like I said, intersectionality, white privilege, and how it's called, like institutional racism, and it's all about how this group is a victim and they need to be helped. Well, we want to help too, but like Republicans, people on that side, they're often Christians, and they believe that the best way to help is help yourself and then help others to help themselves. That's the way we think. Like, that's why I make this video, because by giving people information on, then they can because you can, I've helped many vagrants, you know, and sometimes I gave them money. I gave them money because it's really hard to talk to a vagrant. He has no food. He has nothing to drink. Maybe he wants alcohol. Maybe he wants drugs, and he would just, all he thinks about is that 1 or 2 euros, so he can start buying something soon. So yeah, and maybe he wants food too, but giving a vagrant money so he can buy his, like, whatever need he has can help him for a little bit, for that moment. That's what the person is thinking about. But vagrants live from day to day. Often they have mental health, but mostly it's like drug addiction. But what's the big difference between that person and me? There actually is no difference, except for I don't have the need for whatever I don't have the need that he has. You know, I have other needs, but those needs are not destroying my life. They're just like, oh, I want something to drink, I want something to eat. You know, they're basic needs. They're good needs. I want somebody to love. I want a partner in my life. I want a family. I want to have a good business. You know, those are healthy needs. This person, he may have these needs too, but this need for this drug or this alcohol or something, this person has a need that is going above all the other needs, and it's such an expensive need that his whole life is being ruined because all his money going into alcohol and drugs. So helping these people, I realized that I was actually not able to do that because I'm not rich. So I realized that the problem was not the money, the problem was actually their mind. Because sure, they have this addiction, and that's a feeling. I've been addicted to cigarettes, and it was impossible to stop smoking until I became a Christian. I had faith that it was easy with God's help to stop, and I stopped, and it was easy, you know. But for 10 years, it was. I tried like probably like 100 times, literally. Like I would try it like weekly, where I said, okay, I'm not gonna buy anything, and then I went to my friends. Oh, can I roll a smoke? You know, and it was like I tried again and again, and So I know how hard addictions are, but the thing is, in the end, well, with me it was I had help because I had faith, but in the end, it's your decision. Like if I believe that, and I've helped a few people, like vagrants, by just being buddies with them and just talking with them, meeting with them. Sure, I gave them some money, but also I just talk with them and give them some positive feedback in their life. The last guy that I was helping, he was actually really like into like really the hard drugs. I don't know if it's heroin or something, but he was like maybe chasing the dragon stuff. I don't know what he was doing, but it was like the heavy stuff. And I never spent so much time helping somebody that was this like this had this really like I helped like mainly alcoholics or people that just like were kind of lost, didn't know what to do with their life. But this guy, but I felt, well, if I meet him, if I give a euro, I will give him a euro. If I have and if he wants to talk with me, I'm gonna talk with him. And I gave him like I told him, oh, did you ever read the Bible, blah blah blah, and he was interested in that kind of stuff. and and we had talks about it, and he said, well, and it was funny, he read Genesis. He said, oh yeah, I read Genesis, and yeah, it said that God created all the herbs in the field, all the plants. So actually what I'm doing is not bad, because God created those herbs, like with like the poppy field, the heroin. Like God created the plants that we use, and it's actually true, because the poppy field, that's actually, we use that as anesthetics. We like it's very important, like it's a pain relief. But he's using this pain relief to just, he's just addicted to it, and so it's, to him it's a bad thing. But God put that in the world so we could use it for medical reasons. It's a medical thing. And so he thought, well, it's not as bad as I'm doing. Like his guilt for using that was kind of like, oh, he felt like, okay, God, like there's a reason for these things. So, but it was just interesting to see how his mind started to think and change about things. And this is when you talk to people, you can influence how they think, how they see life. And I could see some improvement in his life. Actually, they were giving him like methadone at some point, and now he is like on a program like that, so he doesn't need to beg for money all day long. And because he's getting a bit older, so it's good that he has at least some improvements in his life finally. And yeah, so whenever I see him, I just keep talking to him, and hopefully, I don't know if I will ever get him to the point where he actually quits with that stuff. Who knows? Of course I hope to do that. But the thing is that he has the power to quit. Like if his mind changed so much where he feels that he can do without it, that he can. All he needs to do is to fight off. Well, not all, but yeah, it's kind of like the word for this video. But now what he needs to do is to, at some point, if he want to quit, is to fight off this feeling, and then keep fighting it off for the rest of his life, this desire for this drug. And yeah, if he fights that off, then he can become, yeah, normal person. He can become a person that doesn't have this habit, and he can focus on like living a better life, and a life that does have maybe a girlfriend in it, a life that maybe has a job in it, that he has a better home, a better stuff. So he can have that life that we all want. All he needs to do, and I know that's a big all, because it's really really hard to do, but he could is face the fact that he doesn't want to do this life anymore. He doesn't want to be a slave of this addiction anymore, and then fight that feeling, get through the withdrawal phase, and then keep believing in himself that he can live a better life. Now, if he changes his mind like that, and I think that with faith that makes it a lot easier to do that, because you have some like miracle power there from God that will help you do this. But I believe that people can change their lives like that. And if you see like George Floyd was actually doing this. He was a drug addict, and he was addicted to some really addictive drugs. He spent time in jail for like robbing people. He even robbed like a mother that was pregnant, and he held a gun to her belly. you know. So he done some bad stuff, but he became a Christian. He had and what people are talking, like he had a very good, like when he had a good influence. He was like a positive person, and they liked the way he was thinking, doing things. But his apparently his addiction was taking. It wasn't really. It wasn't. He had trouble getting rid of his addiction, because if you look in the video, like in the early stage of the video, you can see like when they put him against the wall, he just goes down the wall and he just drops a little baggie there. So, and they said that he had like the drug in his system. That's probably why he had such problems breathing, because of this drug that was causing problems with breathing. So I think that's really horrible. But it's really horrible what this, of course, this officer did, like sitting on his neck. He wasn't listening to what he was saying. He was literally saying, "Well, you're killing me. I'm gonna die," and he just didn't take it seriously, or didn't care, or whatever. Or maybe it was he wanted to happen. He was that. I don't know, but that seems like really stupid, because he could lose his job for something like that. So he was just being, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it wasn't. He was being an idiot. Yeah, and even like there was a black guy talking to him, just telling him what was happening. Look, he stopped breathing. He's not responsive anymore. Look, check him out. And still, he didn't even look down at George's face. Well, he didn't. He probably realized what happened. You know, I don't know. He didn't even look down. He just waited for the ambulance people to do it. You know, he knew that. I don't know. This guy was just crazy. This whole video, what happened there. And it wasn't listened to. I think there was like a Latino woman there. She was like a firefighter, or she was Chinese. I don't know. And she was also, and he didn't listen to the like normal people around him, because he was arrogant. He thought, well, just let me do my job. I'm like arresting this person. You're arresting somebody that is telling you that he has a breathing problem, and he's dying from it. Anyway, we all know how stupid that video was and what happened there. So I'm not saying that anything about that. I think it's good that we are being aware of, and we're doing something about that, because the police has so much power. They need to be also have they have to be very responsible. I think most police officers are very responsible with that power. But we also need to train them well and make sure that they don't suffocate people during their arrest, because I know that if you put your arm around their neck, you can knock them out, but basically you're just like you are robbing them from their oxygen or whatever. You're doing something that's biologically is not healthy. So you have handcuffs. Use handcuffs if they're in handcuffs. If you're afraid you're going to run away, put something around their legs. Stop putting. You don't need to sit on a person with 3 people if you put handcuffs on their legs. Fix it that way. There's always a way to do it better. So I think that George Floyd, we have a lot to learn from that. But the thing is that if we look at this woman, now I'm gonna read a bit of what happened here. So this is Crime Online. Young mom shot dead in front of all friends and fiancé after shouting "All Lives Matter" at group stand. Okay, so this is already, like I said, this is kind of, they're missing the whole thing. Anyway, an argument fueled by hurtful words turned deadly, leaving an Indiana mother with fatal gunshot wounds. Fox reports a 24-year. Okay, so they're talking of what they heard from Fox. So that's not very useful. Let's look at another. This is about Facebook. A Mirror. Mom shot dead as fiancé watches after yelling "All Lives Matter" in Street Row. I think I like this better, because they're not afraid to show that she's a mother, and they show the video of the kid. Just saying like, oh, a woman died. That's like, what's saying this here? Young mom. Okay, so saying young mom. After yelling, but also again, after yelling "All Lives Matter," like she just randomly said it. But yeah, there's more to the story. Here, a mom was shot dead in front of her fiancé following a racially charged argument with a group of passers-by. Jessica was killed around 3 a.m. at Julie 5 while walking with her partner Jose Ramirez. Actually, like I said, he's like Latino. So like she's saying all lives matter. Her fiance is obviously he's not black, but he's also not like white, you know. And she has a child with him, you know, who's probably like half white, half like Puerto Rican or something. I don't know. So she's walking there. Obviously, that group is probably a mixed group of people already with Ramirez there, but there might be more mixed people. The other group maybe have a lot of black people in it, maybe all black. The 24-year-old and the group had across four men. Okay, that's wrong, but and a woman. And when an argument broke out after one of the victims' party used the N-word, so somebody used the N-word somewhere, and so they were using it amongst themselves. That's what I've heard. They were using it amongst themselves. Maybe say, "Hey, you and blah blah blah," and maybe they were talking. Maybe there was not a black guy in, or the black. Maybe it was a black guy who said it, or they said against the black guy. I don't know. You know, America. If you look, like I've seen videos on YouTube from black people, and like in 1 minute they said the N word like 10 times. You know, talking about the brothers and themselves and whatever, and just calling them the N word. So, you know, it's kind of like weird that at some point it's okay to use the N-word, like if it's rap, and then it's fine. But then if a white person says it, suddenly this person is a monster that you can kill or something. So the N-word was used in the group. According to USA, the group got into a racially charged argument and guns were pulled. Okay, so again, they're skipping the whole thing. What happened was, like I said, like the other group, the BLM group heard. They might have been all white, I don't even know. You know, there was just a group with BLM. They heard like the N-word being said in their group, which they might have been doing or maybe there's a black guy there, or maybe they're like rapper kind of dudes and they like using the N-word, they're calling each other the N-word, you know, maybe calling Jose the N-word or something, I don't know. You know, maybe just trying to do like I know, like I'm Dutch. Like here, white people are using the N-word against each other just because they wanna imitate like rappers, you know, or like their hip hop culture. And it's not meant to offend people, you know. You might feel that way, but that's not really the intent of the persons who do it. So, so let's not assume that N-word was used against those people or for anything bad. But they heard it, and so they started shouting like Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, actually accusing them of doing something wrong. There was an accusation like, oh, you have done something wrong, you've been racist by using the N-word. And so and then anyway, that's not what they're saying. We'll read another article. According to USA, the group got into a racially charged argument and guns were pulled on both sides. Okay, we're kind of skipping a lot here. So are the guns pulled before she says all lives matter? Or I don't think so. This is a really terrible article. This is a terrible article because this doesn't make. Why would you pull a gun just on the N-word? No, they're just mixing it all up. Miss Whitaker, all of matters. Okay, so. Okay, let's read another article because they're missing so much. Deadly discussion. Young mom shot dead after Black A young woman was shot dead in Indianapolis in front of her fiancé after argument. Was walking with a pair. Okay, 3 a.m. Came across 4 men and a woman. An argument broke out. The group clashed over language and again we're missing some details here. They're all skipping. The group clashed over language and the Black Lives Matter movement. They're not explaining what happened. I'll never probably forget that image of my head. What happened? Ramirez told. According to the group, got into a racial argument. One man pulled out a gun, and so Ramirez dead too. So Ramirez pulled out his gun as reaction to someone in the other group. Okay, that's interesting. One article published reported that Doty Whitaker had said all lives matter, who allegedly were supporters of the BLM movement. Again, like it's so mixed, all these different stories and okay. Okay, Doty Whitaker's father. Yes, that's accurate, Doty said. When asked, his daughter said all lives matter during the argument about BLM. Following the argument, the group managed to talk things over and both parties walked away. So, as far as I've heard, so like the N-word was said, then she or somebody said like all lives matter. Then, as a response to like them shouting BLM, like Black Lives Matter, blah blah, Black Lives Matter, then she said like all lives matter. Let's assume it's her, because she was targeted, you know. And then like someone in the group pulled out a gun. Then Ramirez pulled out a gun. Then they like said, well, let's not said something like, well, let's not shoot him. And you know, they worked it out. They walked away. So and then, but Lorraine said shots rang aloud around Cannon Court. I was actually holding her when it happened. Ramirez said. She just fell. I turned around and I opened fire too, but that's just a reaction. I didn't see nobody. Hopefully I didn't hit nobody. He told Fox 59 it was squashed and they went up the hill and left, we thought, but they were sitting on St. Clair waiting for us to come under the bridge, and that was when she got shot. So after they like had this pulling of guns initially, after all these things were done, they walked away, but they waited for them. They went up the hill and left, we thought, but they were sitting on St. Clair. So this is a bridge, waiting for us to come under the bridge, and that's when she got shot. So they waited, they ambushed them and killed her. So it was like premeditated. They planned to kill her, actually. So she said all lives matter, and they decided that they had to kill her for that. This is where we are in the world right now. You know, saying all lives matter is like you can kill somebody. This is this is crazy. And the thing is like when and this is gonna become big. That's why I want to talk about it, because even though the media is not covering this, and nobody's talking about this in the media, I mean, what do you think that look at how people responded to George Floyd. It might take a bit of time for people, but people are picking up on this, and I'm really scared. And that's why I want to talk about this, because I'm really scared actually, because we're talking about a group of people in America that are actually, they love you are like poking the bear. You know what I mean? Like the bear was sleeping in a hole, feeling like nice and comfy, like sleeping. He had his belly full in the summer. Now he's gonna sleep in his cave, and he's sleeping nice, and is enjoying. It's like warm and comfy. He's feeling great, you know. He's licking his claws and thinking about all the nice, all the great summer he had, and his summer love, and his like the berries he picked and the fish he took from the water, and he's enjoying life. And then suddenly you come in there and you start poking the bear with a stick. You're saying, hey, wait a minute, that's not smart. Don't poke the bear, and that's what I was worried about for a long time, that this whole narrative of, oh look, white privilege, and we black people has been hurt for like 400 years, and institutional racism. I mean, you are made. This is why this person was caught, because the person who shot her felt that he had the right to do it. They felt that like saying all lives matter was so racist and bad of her, that she was like a white nationalist, that she was like a Nazi, like like the KKK or something. Like she was this monster that was deserving to die. But in reality, she was just a mom that was gonna marry like a Latino, has a child of a Latino, had a mixed child of 3, a son of 3. She was a nurse taking care in a hospital of people of all colors, all races, and she said all lives matter because she loves all people. black people, Latino people, definitely Latino people, especially one, two, you know, her son partially Latino. So she is like, she loves all people, and that's what we are. I love all people. So now I'm smart enough to not just to say scream all lives matter to people, because I know I am very empathic and I'm very knowledgeable about the ideology that these black lives people have, and that they see it as like the N-word. Maybe for them it's the N-word, but it's not. Don't think that 99% people are using all lives matter is because they're kind of like, well, wait a minute, we all matter, don't we? Why is always black lives matter? You know, it's like you're saying the black lives are more important, or these. What are you trying to say? They don't get it, you know, or they think, well, you know, all this stuff. So don't assume that somebody. I mean, it's the whole, like this a big world. A lot of people, they don't know what some extreme leftist in BLM movement is being taught by other BLM movement people, and that are feeding all these things like, oh, if they say all life matters, then they're like the KKK. You have to kill him, you know. But that's what's happening. They're like, there's this, and I'm getting really fearful. I don't know. I hope that they learn from this. But if you look at like this, good riddance to another racist. BLM supporter posts hateful messages on Facebook page of young mom 24 who shot dead moments after she said all lives matter during an argument. So here you see that here. No, so let's go. Hundreds of people have commented on posts on Whitaker's Facebook page in recent days, with severely sharing scathing messages accusing her of being racist. So not only is the media, the general media, not talking about this horrible incident and how it was wrong to kill somebody over saying all lives matter. No, by hiding it, by not making that declaration, BLM is not going to come out, oh, the organization, it is an organization, there's leadership there. I mean, it's a paid company actually. All the money that goes to BLM goes to a company that's going to use that for like all kinds of purposes. They're organized. They should come out and say, well, what happened here is horrible, stop, we should not like kill people we shouldn't fight over people, we shouldn't carry guns, that's what they should do. I don't think that's gonna happen, not for now, you know. I think it's gonna be like the IRA, where they just like start like, it could be really bad if they don't come out and make a decision on and start calling back people and making sure that they're a peaceful organization. Yeah. And that's the problem when the media is not calling them out. The media is not, so they don't have the pressure to do it. And every organization, look at like the Catholic Church, what they did when they were hiding all this horrible stuff happening. Organizations want to like whitewash their own organization. They don't want to show their weakness. They don't want to show anything going on that's wrong. And then what happens? It just festers. It becomes worse and worse and worse. Yeah. You have to deal with problems as soon as possible, even if it's just a little, you know, that little, like if you walk on the grass and you get like a little blister or something, clean the wound. If you're going to keep walking around, that you might lose your toe and even your leg if it gets like infected. You know, you have to deal with this, and they're probably not going to do it. But that doesn't mean, because the media is not talking about this, doesn't mean it's going to be swept under the rug, because we have Facebook, we have YouTube, and even if those would like, they can like just ban all the information about this and try to, they can like delete this YouTube video, they can delete my Facebook post and just make sure that nobody knows this ever happened. But internet is big, you know, that's impossible. So eventually the information will trickle down to people. And that's why I'm putting also information down, because I want to I don't want to spread hate. I don't want to say to other people like, look, this is horrible, take revenge. No, don't take revenge, but be aware of where this is coming from. Be aware that the ideology behind this the extreme left ideology, when you talk about this is coming from the idea of like white privilege. It's saying that, oh look, she was white, she was privileged, she was like, she has hurt, by just being white she is hurting black people because she's part of the white privilege. She's part of the people that are like, the fact that I don't have a job, or that I'm a drug addict, you know, or that I'm, you know, it's like a victim mentality, and that's like the ideology. And they're a victim of what white people are doing. Because they're a victim now, they get angry at whites, because they're being told all the time they've been victimized by white people their whole life, like for centuries, generations. Now there might be some truth in that for some people, you know, there might be truth in that for in the general. But at this moment in 2020, nobody is stopping them to become like a millionaire. You know, nobody's stopping them to have a nice job, have a nice life, get married, not take drugs. Have that. They don't need to abort their children. You can just keep your children and find a nice husband, you know, and make sure you have a family and have a nice house. Maybe if you have a bad neighborhood, you know, you have all these opportunities. You don't need to stay in that neighborhood. You know, there might be other jobs in another city, like George Floyd. He went to another city because he thought, like, I could have, maybe I could have a Neil Star there. Now that didn't work out for him, because apparently he had still trouble with his drugs. But hopefully, I think that eventually, if he wouldn't have got in that situation with like the officer sitting on his back, he didn't have like this drug in his system that gave him like breathing problems. If that combination wouldn't have happened, you know, he maybe one day he would have gotten off drugs. You know, maybe he would have made some lady happy. You know, or the girl that he had at that point. You know, he could have had a great life. You know, but it's not like he was having that. Like he had a pretty bad life until that. There was a lot of bad stuff. There were drugs, and there were like robberies and a lot of jail time, and he was trying to improve that life, and I commend him for that. And I'm really sad that he didn't have more time to do that. And you know, I could see his video where he was like kissing the ground and saying, like, calling out his mama, like he knew he was gonna go to heaven. You know, he was gonna be with his mommy. And as a Christian, I know that he's in heaven, so I know he's in a better place. And yeah. And this is, I think, this is the main struggle for people to like get better lives, get off drugs, get off bad habits. Maybe somebody's a womanizer, maybe somebody is greedy and stealing. Maybe they don't even have, you know, like if you want to have a good life, do good things, you know. As a rule, try to not do anything bad, because if you do something bad, that means it's bad because either you're hurting yourself or somebody else, right? And why would you want to hurt yourself, and why would you want to hurt other people? And maybe you feel that you're already in a disadvantage because of your background. I mean, I've been poor my whole life. I've been very disadvantaged, incredibly disadvantaged. But it doesn't mean I have the right now to get my advantage in because I deserve it, because I've been disadvantaged. No, disadvantage is, we all have some sort of disadvantage. I'm also very advantaged. I have like an IQ 140. I could be like the next Bill Gates or something if I'm lucky. You know, we all and somebody else might be, and I'm also really so. And we all have like, and it doesn't really matter. Like you can be like. You can be a great artist, you know. You can be great at sports. You can focus on the good things. Focus on your advantages. That's what I've been doing all my life. I thought, well, I have all this disadvantage in my life. I've grown up with like a sick mom. You know, I've been taken care of by a sick mom. I've taken care of my sick mom for like last 20 years. My stepfather, he died when I was like 14. You know. I have all the disadvantages in my life that anybody ever could have. Plenty of reason to start drugs and feel sorry for myself, but I never did, because I don't see Because if I start doing that, then I will never succeed in life, you know. And I feel that although I had disadvantages, I also have advantages, you know. And even my own personality, my positive personality is an advantage, because I think that's the main problem. Not even my IQ. The IQ is nice, but we all have things that, you know. Somebody can be pretty, somebody can be artistic, you know, a great communicator, very social. These are all things that you can be blessed with. You can be good at technology. You can be good at all kinds of stuff, you know. Good at I'm really horrible at administration. I would love to be better at administration. I hate like doing that kind of stuff and probably mess it up, you know. So if I had to do it for a job or anything, I'm really not that good at it. I'm not good, you know. You know, leadership. I try to be better at leadership, and you know, but they're natural born leaders. People that just everybody just start to follow as soon as they enter the room. They're like, okay, what do you want us to do? You know, so you might have that. That might be way better than having any sort of IQ, because if people follow you, man, you can go places, but you also have responsibilities, you know. And if you're beautiful, you might become a model or a spokesperson, or you just get you get huge breaks at work or whatever, because you know there are all sorts of stuff that there are disadvantages and advantages at any stage in your life, at any kind of person. And there are very few people that, and even the people with so many like disadvantages, people are willing to give them a chance, you know. And there's nothing wrong with like, and you know, there are people that can do like anything. They have like, they're really smart technicians. They can become like heart surgeons, but they choose to work in a soup kitchen because they just want to help people, man. So it really doesn't matter what you do with your life, and it really doesn't matter where you're coming from, how you look, how, you know, race stuff, all this stuff. Like if you're a man or a woman, or if you're like transvestite, or you know, trans woman, trans man, if you're LGBTQ, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter your race, Asian, Latino, you know, it doesn't really matter what you are. But these people, this whole, and BLM is a big part of that. BLM grew out of this extreme left idea that does matter, and that is something that is, all the problems in the world are coming from that. That's kind of the feeling. So, and if you start thinking like that, then if somebody says all lives matter, and you feel like that is like very, that's a racist thing, and they're being racist against you, and that is like she's being horrible, that's like the biggest problem, then yeah, you feel like you have to kill that person. And that's kind of it's a very like, how do you say, it's like these people are in like in a small group. They're like a cult, you know. And that's very careful. Now I go to church, and when you go to church nowadays, people are like, oh, did you join a cult or something? Especially if you go there for 20 years like I did. But this is not a cult. My church is all over the world. It has like 600 churches all over the world. It's just a normal church, you know. And we have the same ideas as any other healthy church, you know. The same like any good any modern type church. We have modern music, modern ideas. But when you look at extreme left, these BLM, like look at BLM. There's a group of people, right? All these people, they come together, they talk together, they get on the internet, they talk together in the group, and they just come together to protest. So they have this group mentality, like I said, like we had in the old days, in the beginning, where one group is defending their territory from another group. The worst thing we can do is have this group gang mentality. Look at like black on black violence. Like it's often gangs like fighting for, oh, I want to sell my drugs here. No, you cannot sell drugs here. I want to sell drugs here. Oh, boom, boom, boom. You know. It's just about who can sell drugs where. That's why they're killing each other, you know. It's kind of stupid, right? But it's about, for them it's about territory, and now and the groups, because you're in that other group, and that group has a leader, and that group wants more territory, wants more money, and our group wants want to keep our territory and keep our money, and so we fight. Protect we show them with our guns that we can defend ourselves, and that's now what's happening with this BLM, where they're running around with guns and start shouting Black Lives Matter at people, and when they react after like shouting at them, and they react, then they get upset for their reaction. They started shouting Black Lives Matter at them. If I go to a group and if I go, like I'm against abortion, so let's say go to an abortion clinic and I start shouting there like, oh, baby lives matter, baby lives matter, baby, I start shouting there, and somebody comes up to me and he said, I just killed my baby, blah blah blah. Like I can be offended, and I can pull out a gun and shoot that person because I feel that person deserves it. But I went up there and started shouting baby lives matter. That reaction is hurtful and painful and incredibly stupid. Yeah? But if I let that person walk away, maybe one day she will think, well, what did I say to that person? That sounds so stupid. Why did I say that? She will feel, one day she will feel regret about that. She might not acknowledge it straight away. Maybe it will take her months or years to regret, well, that moment what I said that didn't feel right, there was a really stupid thing to say. That guy was standing there, like, maybe it made sense kind of what he was doing, and I was just being obnoxious, and I said something that sounded really bad. If I kill that person over that, but then I'm doing the same thing as I'm standing there for. I want to save lives, and I'm taking lives, That is, but if you're like in a group think, and you're just like building this hatred, like if I stand there and if I'm pro-life and I'm standing there pro-life, and I'm standing there for life. I'm standing because I want more life. I don't want to hurt people. I don't even want to hurt mothers who take their babies' lives. I don't want to hurt them because I feel sorry for them, because one day they're gonna maybe wake up and think, oh, what have I done? You might even think that when they're going there, they might think there at the moment it happens. They might think that just as they left there, they might think it like 6 months on down the line. They might think, well, was that a really good idea? So and that happens a lot, where people are like in two minds, but they feel that they don't have any choice. Maybe her financial situation is so bad that she thinks, well, I need to get rid of this because I don't see how I can how I can live next month with this situation. And then they go and do it, but that doesn't mean, because that is the main motivation, they never think about what they're doing, that it might be bad. They might think about that it is bad, but their motivation overrules the idea of it being bad. But in the back of their mind, they go home and they think, well, oh man, like I had a baby in my belly, what have I done? So if I go there and I protest and say baby lives matter, then I'm trying to provoke that idea and hopefully maybe stop a few people from doing that and raise awareness. Sure, I can do that. That's my right to do it. But if somebody then reacts to me and then I go after that person for reacting to my protest because I didn't like the way that person reacted to my protest, so that's another thing. So, but my main worry is now that a lot of people are going to see this. It may not go mainstream, may not become big on the news, because like this already happened a couple of days ago. I mean, you see a few things here. I mean, like if you look at George Floyd was a criminal, and it was horrible the way the video. It's a horrible video. There's no real video. Well, there's a. Can I video? Will they allow me to watch the video? I don't know. Maybe they will remove my video because I show a video. Okay, I'm not monetized, so it doesn't matter if I don't want to. I'm not afraid to get demonetized or something, but I don't want to get my video removed because I show video. So Yeah, just if there's some video on this, just watch it yourself. Look for some information on it. But okay, let's just go to on another way because okay, so here we see this is like the Washington Examiner. I want to talk about how media responds to this, right? Indiana mother shot and killed following argument over Black Lives Matter, family says. Argument over Black Lives Matter. Well, was it really an argument over Black Lives Matter? I think. Okay, well, as Indiana mother was fatally shot following an argument with a group of people over the Black Lives Matter movement, according to her family. A mother was fighting an argument with a group of people over the Black Lives Matter movement. You know, why do you have to use the Black Lives Matter movement? You know, why do you have to say it in this way? I don't know. This is such a strange wording, like an argument over the Black Lives Matter movement. Why not just say that one group was shouting Black Lives Matter and then she responded All Lives Matter. Jessica Doty Whitaker, this is like, they're trying to, I'm already thinking like, why are you talking this way? You know? Let's see if they're gonna tell the truth. Jessica Doty Whitaker of Indianapolis was killed while walking with her fiancé Yoshi Ramirez on the July 5. I mean, they're already putting like a certain spin on it here. The fatal shooting occurred 3 a.m. local time. Couple encountered a group of 4 men and a woman with whom they got into an argument over Black Lives Matter movement and its messaging. They got into an argument. This is exactly the way they talk. This is how the left, the Democratic, the Black Lives Movement, how they talk. They got into an argument over the Black Lives Matter movement and its messaging. I don't think, that's not what I've heard. I think that they were just shouting Black Lives Matter and she shouted All Lives Matter back. I don't think they even they had an argument about the messaging. I don't know. Whitaker has said All Lives Matter in response to a comment on the Black Lives Matter movement. They were shouting Black Lives Matter at their group. That's not a comment, that is shouting at a group multiple times, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. It's like protesting against the group. And she protested back All Lives Matter. Anyway, put a spin on it. One man in the group allegedly pulled a gun during the argument, but walked away from the couple before using it. It was squashed and then went up the hill and left, we thought, but they were sitting on St. Clair waiting for us to come under the bridge, and that was when she got shot. Ramirez said she shouldn't have lost her life. She's got a 3-year-old son she loved dearly. Ramirez said that he was also carrying a gun and shot back at the suspect. He did not hit or injure anyone, however, according to reports. It was actually holding her when it happened, he said. She just fell. I turned around and I opened fire too, but that's just a reaction. I didn't see nobody. Hopefully I didn't hit nobody. Well, he should hope that he shot like the culprit, at least in the leg. Police are still searching for the suspects so that he can be caught, you know. Police are well, you know, if they kill my fiancé, I don't know if I would regret not hitting anybody, to be honest. I know I'm supposed to be a peaceful Christian, but whoever kills somebody is a killer and he might kill more people, so hunting that person down and stopping him from hurting more people is not revenge, although I probably will be feeling that, but the thing is that it's actually also protecting other people. So if he would have shot that person, even killed that person dead in the back or something while he was running away, he would have protected any other people from dying from that person, because that person is probably not going to stop. Or might not stop. You might have killed 10 other people. So like him shooting back, and I think he's like, oh, he shot back, but you can see, like, I understand, like, you're carrying a gun, you're not carrying a gun, it's for protection, and you don't. I think he was kind of like he didn't even know what he was shooting at because he didn't know where it was coming from. I guess in that way it was like, yeah, he could have hit anybody. Then that is probably what he feels sorry for. He was afraid that He was glad he didn't hit anybody, because he could have hit anybody, because he was shooting blind probably, because he was shooting in the direction where the gunfire came from. It was probably really dark, and the ambush probably the person was hidden in the bushes or whatever. Police are still searching for the suspects and investigating the situation. So yeah, but to be honest, if somebody would hurt my fiancé or my child or whatever, I would like, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. You know. You know, I'm a good Christian. I don't want to hurt people, and I believe in justice and that police should deal with things. But when it comes to your own family, I don't know. It's like sometimes I feel that. I mean, that even had a gun, he was able to shoot back. I mean, I guess that is something, you know. Like if something like this happens here and I don't have a gun, I can't even protect my family here, you know. Now, that would that mean that I don't know. Also, the other thing is that I'm less likely to encounter somebody with a gun here. Like maybe they would pull out a knife or a stick or something, but but it's probably just going to be fists, which I can handle because I'm good at taekwondo, so I could defend myself. So, to be honest, I'm rather have to defend myself here right now, in most cases, against somebody who is aggressive, than in America, because, well, unless I also had a gun, but yeah, then like it gets so much more deadly than with fists, you know. But yeah, it's like. It's kind of sick that he was able to protect himself, and he did protect his family, and then they just decided to like hide somewhere in the bushes or on the bridge or somewhere in the dark and just shot her like that. It's just like it's like ambush. It's just such a, it's like the worst time of murder. Like it's not even like in the moment. It's not. It's pure because they think that she's racist, but in fact the person who shot was the person being racist, because she was killed just for being white and saying something that they perceive as to be against their ideology. You know, she was not in fact really racist. I mean, she wasn't. It was not why she said it. Um, She loved her son more than anything in this world, and she truly did not deserve this. She was kind, her sister Jennifer Whitaker told the Washington Examiner. All she ever wanted to do in life is help people, which is why she got into nursing field. She would be meet with detectives soon to find out if there's anything new. The shooting comes as civil unrest and violent protests, blah blah blah. Okay, so this probably like, let's see what they say. The shooting comes as civil unrest and violent protests have broken out amid otherwise peaceful protests against police brutality and racism. Violence has spiked in recent weeks in major cities, mostly notably in New York and City and Chicago. So he's saying, well, civil unrest, they call it civil unrest, and violent protests have broken out amid otherwise peaceful protests. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of peaceful protesters. Like I said, like everybody hates what happened to George Floyd, and we all feel that we have to do something about that, about how people are being treated by the police and any racism involved. You know, we all feel that I would join a BLM protest just to protest against that. The only thing for me is that I would be supporting the organization behind it. I mean, I would like protest against racism any day because I hate racism. You know, if I hate anything, it's Nazis and communists because they killed like hundreds of millions of people. You know, I don't know, but yeah, like look at Second World War. I mean, they killed 6 million Jews and Nazis. They killed like so many other people. They killed a lot of. They got so you know, and then if the communists, they killed like hundreds of people, you know, hundreds of millions of people, like in the wars, in the gulags, in like killing farmers and then getting famines and all this stuff happening. Lots of people died because of this, and I mean, I don't know if I can. I mean, even COVID came from China. I don't know if that's like just being unlucky that it's from a Chinese country, or did they even develop the weapon, or did they just could they have handled it better because of the communism? They didn't want to acknowledge there was a horrible disease. They handle it right. I mean, when they did handle, they were really strict, but at the first couple of weeks they were trying to like cover it up, right? So like covering up a disease that's gonna terrorize the whole world is not good to cover things up. So yeah, um, so that's what I say. Like, I mean, communism and Nazism are the worst things. And but the thing is that what the extreme left is trying to do is like always pushing this idea that all whites are like these horrible people, or like a large group of whites are horrible people. And when somebody screams something like "All Lives Matter," now suddenly they are that group that are described by the left, and that are being like what's the word for it? They're being portrayed as like these monsters. They're being portrayed as vilified. They're being vilified. So they're vilifying this imaginary group of white people, and they don't really exist except for maybe a few actually racist people. But like this, they pretend that there's this huge group of people that just hate like anybody who supports Trump or something, that they're all like these racist monsters. And then if you say something like "All Lives Matter," you're one of those monsters, and then you get shot nowadays. That's what is going on. You get just shot for being this imaginary, being part of this imaginary group. And like she had like a Puerto Rican or at least Latino fiance, and she had like a mixed child with him, and she's being killed for being racist. You know, how stupid is this? But yeah, we call it civil unrest and violent and peaceful protest. I mean, sure, there was some. It was. New York City officials have reported a surge in violent crime, 10 shootings and 1 death in a 9-hour span over Independence Day weekend. Additionally, there were 13 murders between June 1 and 7, with 40 reporting shootings. There were 5 murders. So they're like trying to weaken the fact that she is dead by showing that there's lots of violence and there are a lot of people dead. So that's kind of how they're ending this story. They're not saying, "Oh, this is horrible." They're not saying all the things I'm saying about that you should. Where in this story they talk about how bad it is to kill a woman over saying "All Lives Matter." There's nothing said about that. All they say about this is they say, "Oh, Black Lives Matter movement and its messaging." I mean, this is like, sure, it's like they want to show like they're like bring the news without any political agenda, but by leaving out any like nothing, no one is saying except for their own words, where he's saying his words. Their words are actually like trying to like underplay the whole thing. Now they're saying, "Oh, there's civil unrest, but yeah, peaceful protest, but now there's civil unrest, and oh, there's so many shootings. And here, crime is raging out of control here in New York." Former New York Police Department Commissioner Ray Kelly said, "I don't see anything that's going to change the trajectory of the continuing to rise. There's orderly groups all over the city telling police officers police are generally backing off because their political leaders, the mayors, are telling cops to back off." Chicago police has also reported a spike in murders and shootings this year comparing to 29 shootings. Okay, so at least they're being honest about the whole, that there's a spike in crime because of this whole George Floyd reactionary movement going on. But where's the reactionary movement of a white woman losing her life for saying a nice woman that loves all kinds of people, all races, is like was gonna marry her Latina boyfriend, fiance, and her mixed son of 3 years old Where's the outrage for that? Where are the groups of, where are the ALM supporters? I know that there's no ALM supporters, but where's the group of people that are standing for her death? And the racism, the blatant racism, but there's no other way to describe it. She was killed for being white, basically. Now, they killed her because they thought she was a white racist. She had this imaginary idea of her that she was being racist by saying all lives matter. But that doesn't mean that. So if you think somebody about another race, if you're like black, I assume these people were black if they were like so hyped up about BLM. But they could have been white themselves. Maybe it was a white BLM person who was shooting. I don't know. It's not they don't really. I haven't heard anything about that yet. But let's assume that it was a black person. I don't know if a white person could have so much hate that he could even. I don't know. But let's say, and even like a white person can be racist against his own race, I've talked about this before. Like if you're like deep into BLM and you actually believe the whole white privilege and that you're guilty of doing all these things and you're part of this horrible group that's just ruining the world while you're living in the greatest country in the world. Sure, if you believe that, you might hate your own race and even shot somebody for believing that she's being racist against a race that you want to defend. But basically, the whole idea, would she have been shot if she would have been black and said all lives matter? So, but yeah, maybe she would, because it's so stupid. Because she's walking there with her Latino boyfriend. He obviously doesn't look that as white as her, and then this happens, But I'm fearful of this because I don't know how people are going to respond. Like a lot of people who read this and see this, and I think that when you are accusing this imaginary group is going to get upset, and you have this imaginary group is an upset group of people, and they start talking back. They say things as all lives matter to your face, because they feel they have the right to do that, and they have, If you can say black lives matter, they can say all lives matter. It's a free country, right? That's what makes our Western society great. So we can just say things, and these are political statements. It's a political statement. Maybe I don't know if she realized that she was making a political statement when she said all lives matter. I'm sure that Black Lives Matter, when they said it, they understand, at least in part, that they were making a political statement, because it's a political it's a political group at least. It's how do you call it here? This still this said something here. The movement. Okay, we got the Black Lives Matter movement. So it's a political movement, and they're shouting their slur, their line, Black Lives Matter. Now the thing is about this is that of course it has a meaning, and it's not a meaning that I reject. Black lives totally matter. I think that baby lives matter. I think that black baby lives matter. I think that Asian lives matter. So there's nothing wrong about that statement, and there's also nothing but if you then say that if somebody says all lives matter, they're not disregarding Black Lives Matter, because it's inclusive. It's inclusive of all means black and all the others. That's what all means. Black and white matter. And as she was in interracial relation, when she said all lives matter, she was talking about how she loves her Latino boyfriend and her mixed race son. That's why she said all lives matter. That was her statement. And this is that's why she said all lives matter, because her Latino child, or partially Latino child, and her fiancé mattered most in the world to her, of course. So, and she cares also about black people because she was going to be a nurse, and she just loves everybody. So she meant, when she said all lives matter, she meant it in a positive way. But being chanted at by people saying Black Lives Matter in like, of, trying to like accuse you of being racist, that's kind of what they're saying. They heard the N-word in their group. They were like, oh, these are racist. They said something racist, or they should not be saying that. Then they start shouting at them, Black Lives Matter, like accusing them of doing something wrong. She was like saying, well, I don't believe that. I was not, our group is not racist. And she says, all lives matter as a statement, as our group is a mixed group. How can you accuse us of like being racist? And they took it as something, they interpreted that all lives matter statement of her as her being racist and killed her for it. And that is in a way racist of them to do so, because they were judging her on her color and saying that statement. They didn't look at her background, they didn't look at her fiancé or even her child, they didn't look at the interracial situation there, that she was actually in love with a man of another race. That she was going to marry that man, she want to spend her life with that man. She already had a child with that man, and going to have more children with that man, and she was going to be nurse, taking care of all the people in her city, with the same love, and from that love she said all lives matter, because she believes in a world wherein everybody is equal, and everybody is important, and we all matter as much as the other one. And she was saying that from like, well, you as black people are just as important as Latino people, or white people, or Asian people. We are all important. That was her message, what she was saying, was trying to come across. That's probably why she said it. But they said, from their like their hive mind, their little their brain, they could not only like just, they went together and said, oh, this is horrible, this person needs to die, and they killed her for it. They couldn't, they just saw it as a racist thing. White person saying all lives matter, oh, she's like KKK or something, she has to die, she has to pay for all the bad things that happened 400 years. That one guy that killed a black guy and did something terrible to a slave, that person, she has to pay for that. Now, as a Christian, I believe in forgiveness. I even like things that happened yesterday to me, I already forgiven. I was there's a lot of stuff people do. I was I'm evicted from my home after my mom died. I was really upset about that. I felt like, how can you do that to somebody who just lost his mom? But every time I was angry, I don't know, it's like I reached a point where I just forgave those people because it happened. I'm gonna move out of the house, I'm gonna hopefully go to a better place. Does it really matter? That they did something bad. They even tried to give me 3 lessons, like they want to have me move out in March instead of like July, August, so they even like to undercut me with 3 months, like 50%. So I had like 3 months to get over the grieving for my mom and getting a new home in the same time. So I'm really, and that's actually what I'm mostly upset about, those 3 months they want to steal from me in this home. And I'm upset with the government that they have this rule that I cannot stay in the home I took care for my mom for 20 years. But I'm talking about it, but actually I forgave the people, that I forgave the government, I forgave my home corporation for it. Because if you live in hate, what's the use? What's the use? What is gonna? It can only that mean, what do I have to do with that hate? Do I have to hurt the government? Do I have to hurt this corporation? What do I do? Throw in their windows or something? They don't really care. Just put new windows in. Only thing is, I'm gonna end up in jail. I'm gonna get a bad report. Oh, this person, yeah, he threw in some windows because he's angry. What's the use? What's the use in like going in the streets and ruining like spend like destroying parts of the city? What's the use of like shouting things at people, you know, and then and running around with guns, getting into fights, you know, like and then like and then and then and then ambushing a person and killing them for saying all lives matter, you know. This is what I've been fearing for a long time, that I was hoping that there was not gonna happen, but I've seen people running around. You see like the BLM running around with guns. Now that means at some point somebody somewhere is gonna use a gun, you know, and because it's all about race, this, that, and that. Look, we're talking about something. You're starting a race war over something that that was already like won and lost like 400 years ago. I think you had a civil war in America. You know, like the guys who wanted slavery, they lost. Yeah, you got rid of slavery, luckily. Yeah. Then it took some. Then you had. Then there was still a lot of stuff going on, where laws and the whole society had to adjust. And I think now it's 2020. Like you want to get rid of like a few little specks that still are stuck, you know, and because you want to get rid of those specks that nobody can hardly seem to find, you know, you're gonna start a riot. I think that's unfair. I think that it's more about. I think that um, I think that the cure that what you're trying to achieve with like spreading hate like this, with this narrative of like, oh look, the white people are so bad, blah blah blah, we have to like, and all these things, you know, look what happened. Like this woman is dead. Her child, her mixed child is without a mother. Her Latina boyfriend, you know, is without a wife, you know. This is what, and this is, I think, I'm sorry, I think it's horrible what happened to George Floyd, but look at the situation. George Floyd was a criminal. He could have gotten killed if any, like when he went in, like every time he stole something, somebody could have gone out with a gun and shot him for stealing. You know, he hold a gun to a pregnant woman's. If I would have been, if the husband, I would have been that man's husband, I would have seen that. I wouldn't even think 2 seconds. I would have like shot him in the head. A man holding a gun to my wife's belly's baby, with the baby in our baby in it. Like, if I had a gun, I would pull out the gun and boom, drop him dead right there, because before he notices I'm even there, I'm not gonna take any risks. You know, I know that sounds very harsh, but you know, like he kind of deserves that at that point, because he's threatening the life of my wife and child at the same time, unborn baby. You know, that's being threatened by this guy holding a gun to her belly. You know, it's gonna kill and the baby, my baby, my wife's baby. I'm probably gonna lose her too if she bleeds out. It's horrible what he did, and we're gonna compare, and we have this huge outrage in all of America, and influencing the whole world for this guy dying. I'm not saying he deserved it, but if you're gonna have outrage for George Floyd, a convicted criminal, career criminal, although he became a Christian, started to change his life, but he was not completely successful yet with that. He got arrested while doing drugs, while trying to do probably a crime with like fake bills, yeah, so he can pay for his drugs. He was hiding his drugs, you know, throwing it on the street. He had having breathing troubles from the drugs he was using. Now he was wrongly treated by cops who were doing a almost standard operation, where they were like arresting him, putting him in handcuffs and keeping him down. But because they didn't know, he could be perfectly fit, he could be faking that he was not able to breathe. He could be very healthy. If they wouldn't have hold him down, he could have maybe gotten up and run away, and it would have looked stupid. And maybe in the crowd, maybe he could have jumped in a car, whatever. I mean, this is how. Look at that other arrest that went wrong. They tried to arrest him. He ran away. He even got he got a taser out and shoot back at the cop. You know, arrests can go really wrong. So these guys, they were like, kind of, they should have. I think they should have maybe, like I said, maybe put some cuffs on his ankles or something, and then put him and even put him in a position where he could have breathed better, and at least listened to him and took him seriously. And probably they were thinking, well, he's going to be good until the ambulance is here. And the ambulance arrived in 9 minutes. But yeah, them sitting on his back and in his neck was probably not. That's probably what that killed him while with his bad breathing. And we saw the video, and it's a horrible video. And it's completely unfair that this cop did this and how he did it. And cops shouldn't be like that. But look at this situation. If you're going to be outraged about a guy who had multiple run-ins with the police, got multiple arrests, took the drugs that eventually killed him during an arrest, and you see this girl, she's going to be a nurse taking care of people for the rest of her life, with this young boy being in an interracial marriage, you know, getting married to somebody from another race. She loves all races, all people. She has a boy who is the fruit of that interracial relation, you know. Okay, I hope you did enough. I'll see you later.